Hi, my name is Leslie, aka Pink Like a Beacon. If you are watching this, you probably have interacted with me either through one of the ITSAN forums, or you have read my blog, or maybe you are just learning about topical steroid addiction and withdrawal for the first time. Today, September 14th, 2014, I am 2 years without topical steroids. I used topical steroids for about somewhere between maybe 5 to 7 years cumulatively, and I also took a dosage of oral prednisone. I've had eczema since I was a baby. Also, I should introduce Star before I continue with my story. She was my, she's a little camera shy, but she was my best friend and my little comfort animal, and now she's shy of the camera, so she's going to walk away, but I wanted everyone to see her because she was, she really did help me through some of the hardest times of my withdrawal. Anyways, so like I was saying, I used topical steroids for about 5 to 7 years cumulatively. I had eczema as a child, and it usually came and went. It usually got worse around finals throughout all of my years of education, especially in college and law school. I would really flare up my elbows, my hands, and then it started spreading. I used mostly over-the-counter hydrocortisone, and then I used some prescription topical steroids, like really low strength, for a few years. And it wasn't until 2012, January 2012, I got kicked off of my parents' insurance, and I applied for insurance on my own, and I was told that I had a pre-existing condition, that eczema was a pre-existing condition, and that I was going to be charged $50 extra per month. So because of eczema, like I had to pay $600 more a year for my health insurance because of eczema. So I decided, screw you, insurance company, screw you, medical field. I'm going to figure out what caused my eczema, and I'm going to go after it. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get rid of it, because that's ridiculous. And I'm going to have the insurance company pay out the ass for it, because since they're going to charge me for it, I might as well take advantage of it. I started seeing an allergist, and at that time I was probably already addicted to steroids, but it was pretty much managed and controlled with over-the-counter topicals and the small amounts of prescription steroids that I used. And I met an allergist in January 2012, and she told me that my skin was really terrible, and that just from looking at my skin, she could tell me that I was allergic to gluten, and that my skin was not clear enough to take an allergy test, so I had to take an oral dosage of prednisone. And after that prednisone, my skin had never looked better. It was beautiful, it was so clear, but ever since that time that I took those oral drugs, my skin was never, ever the same. Within 1 month, I was having an allergic reaction that they thought was really dangerous, that I was going into anaphylaxis because my eyes almost swelled shut. And I went through the next about 9 months of really going crazy, trying to figure out what it was that was causing my skin problems. Was it gluten? Was it dairy? Was it environmental allergens? What was it? And those were some really hard days. At one point, I even thought that I had a shiitake mushroom allergy, because someone had told me to take shiitake mushroom supplements to help build up my immunity. And as my skin just really deteriorated and eczema spread from just these small areas to my entire body, and I was putting the highest strength of steroids all over my skin, all over my body, as prescribed by my doctor. One day I was Googling, topical steroids, skin getting worse, and I found ITSAN, and I found Dr. Rappaport, and I found out that basically topical steroids had been making my skin worse, and that was really the problem. And that was why, that I was addicted. Just like a person gets addicted to drugs, I was addicted to topical steroids. And the problem was, the answer was, it was very simple. It was very simple. All those other things didn't matter. The only thing I had to do was eliminate the steroids. And I looked at the pictures, and I saw some horrible pictures on people like Juliana's blog, for example, and I got really afraid, and I thought, you know what, it's not going to be that bad for me. I am not a lifetime user. I didn't do shots. I took two oral steroid tapers. So I thought, oh, that's it. That's all I use. I didn't really use that much, so it's not going to be that bad. And in the first week, my immune system completely crashed, and I was hospitalized for pneumonia. And the next 15 months were horrific. The first 3 months, it spread to my entire body. I had every single symptom in the book. I was profusely pouring fluid, oozing out of all over my body. I was insanely itchy. I would go to work and I would just sit in the bathroom and take off all my clothes and scratch myself. I'd be bleeding and oozing and crying. I had trouble sleeping, not as bad as other people, but I had trouble sleeping. I took all kinds of drugs prescribed by doctors to sleep, to help me sleep, help me not itch, help my anxiety. You know, I wasn't really the kind of person that cried a lot. I kind of stifled a lot of my emotions, and for a good year I was sobbing every single day. I would just sit in the bathroom sometimes and I would just scream because I was in so much pain and it was so horrific. Every single morning when I woke up, the first thing I had to do was get in the bath. Some days I spent up to 18 hours in the bath, and I even had to live with my parents for a month because I was so sick that my partner couldn't take care of me, and it was really, really bad time. And at about 15 months, things got better. You know, at about 9 months throughout the withdrawal, things got a little bit better, and then it came back pretty bad. The ooze, the itching, the shedding, all of it came back. And at about 15 months, so back in February, March, my skin got a lot better. I had one smallish flare-up after that, but for the most part, since February, March, most of the really terrible symptoms are gone. Today, as I'm talking to you, I spent all day yesterday and all day today in the sun. I went swimming in the ocean. I put on regular sunscreen. I've been in and out of the pool. My skin, whenever I do stuff like that, it does get a little bit irritated. It's pretty much just like when I had eczema. The places where I used a lot of steroids, you know, they're still a little dry. They can get a little bit red, but you know, I don't need to moisturize every single day. I haven't taken a bath in months. You know, I can pretty much live normally, and at this point, like, my life is not affected on a day-to-day basis. Sure, people like my wife still complain about my itching, especially sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night scratching, and I wake her up mostly is the problem, not myself. But for the most part, my life is back to normal, and you know, I've learned so much about myself, and I really don't regret it. It was, like I said, horrific, and it was painful, and it was awful, but on the other side of it, I can say that it was absolutely 100% worth it. All those days, all that pain, all that itching, all that dead skin, all that ooze, all that crying, all that screaming, it was worth it. You know, 2 years of my life, a year and a half of my life was taken from me. Some days, I think about that, like, I basically had to put everything on hold, my career, my life, but, you know, from now on, like, I am gonna have new skin. I kind of feel like I have a new lease on my life, and you know, I just want to tell people out there that it does get better. You look at my pictures, and I never would have thought that I would get better. So if you can see the whole progression of what I've been through, then I hope that it helps people, and it has helped people following my story to see that topical steroid withdrawal is really if you are addicted to steroids, then that is the answer, and that you know, it's kind of my mission to share my story and share all of the nasty, disgusting shit that I went through, horrific shit that I went through, so that nobody else, I can either help people not get addicted in the first place or stop before it gets any worse. So thank you for listening and watching and following my story and being supportive, and for all of those people that know me in real life or have interacted with me through the forums and stuff and been a support system to me. Thank you so very much. In the darkest days, you really did help me through some really horrible shit. So thank you very much, and I have an email address listed on my blog. It's pinklikeabeacon@gmail.com. If you ever have any questions or need any tips, I can give you my little tips and tricks for the book. So thank you.